Hello everybody and welcome to episode 14 of the Southron Bannermen. As usual, I'm joined by regular hosts Joe Zimmer.
Hello.
And Ben Davey.
Hi guys.
This week we're going to talk about the start of Cycle 3 with the All Men Are Fools chapter pack. We're going to give you some exclusive spoilers from the Nights Watch Deluxe box. Answer a listener's question. So, guys, what do you think of the new chapter pack?
It's alright.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably only about 3-4 cards in here I'm really excited to use.
Yeah, we've got Tinder Marge. We've got the Bestow keyword, but it's not really doing much in this pack, is it? Outside of Ricasso and the Bannermen.
I think that's the main reason I really want to play Ricasso. He's one of the few characters I'm really liking the look of. Because I've played a bit of Martell Crossing recently, and you know, even with what's his face, Doran, you're still sometimes struggling to get the enough of a strength bonus. So this giving you another 2 towards that was kind of cool. But otherwise, yeah, don't know.
Yeah, there's not much stuff happening with the new keyword, is there, in this first one, really?
Yeah.
How many cards have we got that actually use it? Tumblestone,
4, I think.
Bannerman, Stone Crows,
Slaver's Bay.
Oh yeah, 5.
Was it Slaver's Bay?
Yeah.
No, not Slaver's Bay. I'm thinking.
Slaver's Bay doesn't use.
No, I'm
thinking. It doesn't.
I'm thinking the one in 2 packs time, the one with the burn. That one I'm looking forward to using.
Astapor.
Yeah. Yeah. That looks like a really good effect. But yeah, I think I don't know. I don't want to take some of the examples like the Fickle Bannerman like you talked about. Obviously, we were talking about a bit before the podcast. You don't really ever need to put it on there. Because if you're losing Power Challengers Baratheon, you're probably losing the game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, he's so strong, naturally. I'm questioning how much he's going to get brought in as a banner, but there's always this big thing that I remember is you don't have to play him if you're going to lose him. Like, don't just drop him if you're going, oh no, I've lost my Power Challenge.
And you should be able to see the board state. I mean, if you're going, say you're going first and they're still about to marshal stuff, but you just be sensible. Don't just chuck a load of those down if they're your only power icons, and you're playing Greyjoy and they could potentially drop down some stuff. Yeah, just be sensible about it. You shouldn't ever lose them.
Probably about the worst thing you see is some raiding longships against you. That could be an issue. But then if you're going first, that's not obviously an issue. Yeah. I do like the idea of. Someone mentioned it on the Facebook group, and I'm sure other people have, of doing Baratheon bannered to Banner of the Sun and taking free. Is it Condemned? No, not Condemned. Whichever one does the power icon.
It's Condemned.
It's Condemned.
Banner of the Sun. Let's not bring that back.
I still think that's necessary. I think you shouldn't really have any problems.
No,
they're 5 strength, 3 cost. I mean, pretty efficient right there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's necessary. I think if you are worried, it is an option. But yeah, you probably.
I think there's a potential better deck in Martell Stag now. If you swap that around.
Oh,
giving yourself some more renown in the deck.
That's not a bad idea, actually. That's pretty cool. I hadn't thought about it that way around. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely got some. Definitely a good idea, because you do need that renown in Martell. They do. That's the one thing they do struggle with, is trying to win the game before turn 6.
I imagine he's going to appear in most of the banner packages. Like, the banners at the moment are typically either the Dom package of at least just 2 chambers, the Velour package. Then I reckon he could start fitting in as well, just because he's a cheap body with renown and a lot of strength.
Take a look at the sort of good stuff banner with Crescent, Davos, Bannerman.
Yeah. Because people need more reason to play Barra.
I don't know if it's just me, but I almost feel like Neil's been falling off a little bit just because of the decks that I've been seeing play.
So go on.
So, just at least in my experience the last few weeks, like playing anything with like trying to kneel something with Mel, it never feels that great. Like I always feel like there's something else that's a problem. It's never knocking out a big enough target.
So as you know, I've played a lot of Barra recently. Yeah, I've been keeping quite secret, and I've actually gone back to Stannis for pretty much that very reason. Because I feel like if I want to kneel something... Yeah, of course, Stannis. Because if I feel if I want to kneel something, I want it to stay out, or at least there'd be a cost to bring it back up, obviously with only 2 characters being allowed to stand. And yeah, I've almost gone back to almost a pretty much mostly core deck. Because the cards back there are so good for Barra. And, but yeah, it does feel like Neil has become almost a sub archetype now for Barra to Dominance. Dominance seems to have overtaken it.
It's because you're seeing a lot of the reset decks, right? People are mainly bannering to stag, and the sole purpose is to get the table rather than to get Melisandre.
I guess the other one is because obviously the power of the wall, but if you know, and the Cravens stopping you potentially from being able to get free only challenges. But generally speaking, I find that if I'm in that situation, I can win Dominance anyway, and then I'll still a power of you. So there's a way around that as well. But yeah, which is weird, I'd say, because I was talking about it. Storm's End, which initially I looked at it and thought it looked really good, but the more I think about it, the less I'm thinking it's amazing.
Yeah, I reckon there could be some decks that make it work. I think part of the problem is that it's actually loyal as well. I reckon it could be better if it was non-loyal.
That's fair.
I think there could be some decks that might make a bit more use for it, but because it's Barra, and the general thing is that you shouldn't be losing power challenges, having the power on your house cards probably a safer bet than trying to put it on some characters.
It also doesn't synergize very well with City Watch, which is one of their better cards.
Yeah, and even stuff like Disputed Claim, which I reckon might see a bit more play now.
Yeah, actually that's probably fair. Yeah, when you kind of break it down, it does seem less useful. Which I think the other problem as well is they've got so many dominance tools now. I'd rather have the armory than this. Get the card draw.
The armory does barely sees play. You only need the bare essential now.
But it's such a good card. It's like, yeah. Even as a one-of, it's like, man, I don't need it really. Especially if you're triggering the red keep every turn.
Well, more card draw is never a bad thing. I think the armory is probably going to see more play now because of Sea Bitch, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
The red keep gets stolen, you've still got to draw that round. There's no way they can Sea Bitch the armory. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Dom package in general, is it can't.
Yep.
Sea Bitch doesn't affect it.
Oh, Sea Bitch, why? Take the one card though that kind of caught me. Obviously, we hadn't had Spoilt, which I'm really looking forward to trying a deck with. Is All Men Are Fools, which probably in a Tyrell Banner to Wolf at the moment deck with all the ladies. I think this card seems so good.
I think it's just a solid one of most Tyrell Rush at the moment because you're probably running some version of Marjorie and you're more than likely running Brienne now.
Yeah.
So that's 2 of your ladies. Bring in an Allery maybe.
Yeah. Allery's always a good one of.
Yeah, to get stuff like, what's it called? Lady in Waiting. Then, so that's 3. Then if you banner, most of the useful banners for Tyrell can give you at least 2 ladies. So even if you don't get a full setup, if you're getting 2 ladies, it's kind of just doing the same sort of job as Superior Claim, just on any challenge. It's obviously is on your characters, but it's still kind of useful.
But it's any challenge which is superior, which makes it even better. That's one of the reasons I really like it. Is you got no intrigue icons, cool. I just want an intrigue challenge by 5 then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was on this because it hadn't been spoiled, and that actually has been one of the nice things about this pack. The fact that so few cards were spoiled. that some of those extra cards we're now seeing are really good. It's quite fun. Actually, I know it wasn't quite opening the pack, but on the release day, seeing cards we hadn't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But what do we actually think of this Bestow keyword so far?
I don't even think I've used it. I've seen it used once on the Tumblestone.
Yeah, 'cause I guess that one's really good for Rush with the Blackfish.
Yeah.
But is it that useful otherwise? You don't see the Blackfish. Is it that great?
It's okay. I'm trying to work out how many to run on it. I've heard weird arguments over using it on setup, which I'm a little confused by, because I see the logic and but also question some of the reasoning.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But if you see it on setup, you can potentially just play it, and it's an extra card you draw instead of it.
Then that card's locked out for the game.
Yeah, you just play a political disaster and blow your own one up. That's a bit of a weird logic. Why'd you play it on setup?
Because it's a 0. If you're not going to get anything else out, or you don't think it's going to have a useful effect anytime soon, you're giving yourself another card. But it locks it. So it's sort of double-edged sword. It's do you want an extra card that you think might be more useful long term, or do you want to keep this card and hope it works out for you?
Yeah. I do wonder with Bestow whether it's going to be more useful towards the end of the cycle when the houses have the cards that give them more gold. Because you feel you take the Fickle Bannerman as an example. Let's say you did put 2 gold on him. He's now a 5-cost character, which kind of makes him less useful.
Yeah.
Same with was it Ricaro? Not Ricaro, is it? Ricasso. As a 5-cost character, his ability's fairly good, but if you haven't seen the other pieces, the other pieces to make that tech work. It's a very expensive 5-cost character.
Admittedly, with Ricasso, I think if you're playing Ricasso, you should be using his effect for the most part, unless it's a desperation move. Because that's you have him in the deck for his keyword, or his Bestow. You don't. Yeah. You're not in a Martell don't struggle for 3-cost intrigue power.
No, that's for sure. And also again, the Stonecrow as well, because obviously the weird thing having ambush in Bestow.
Yeah.
Can you put Bestow on when you ambush?
Yeah, it's enter in play. So yeah.
Okay, but I guess that just makes it more useful with core Tyrion.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few arguments for Stonecrows. Some people love them. The most I think you'd ever put on is maybe 1 gold, because in the decks that you're probably running it in, you'll probably have got Tyrion, so you want to bounce things back.
Mm-hmm.
You just use the Stonecrows as a throwing axe threat.
They seem only useful to me in a proper Clansman deck with Mountain of the Moon.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a cool ability to kill on any challenge, not just military, as long as you're attacking.
Yeah, it's got the same problem as throwing axe, that it's easy to kind of go around it. It's a threat more than a use. Until because there isn't an effect that lets them come in mid-challenge for Clansmen, is there?
No, I think only the Moon
Brothers.
Yeah, the Moon Brothers can, yeah.
But no one else can yet. So if there's an effect that lets something just appear mid-challenge and join in, then I reckon they'll be great.
A bit throwing axes are better when you can actually ambush them in mid-challenge rather than telegraphing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Salador song.
Hey, don't forget those raiders from Pike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might need a few more packs, I guess, to make an initial decision, but so far it's not blowing me away. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What do we have?
We've only got 4 cards of the keyword, so...
Yeah. We've seen a few other ones, though, and bar that Targaryen one, which I think could be quite brutal, and bring Targaryen burn back in a big way.
I am liking this potential habit. I'm just trying to double check. Yeah, in the same pack Astapor is released is when they released discard contested locations, isn't it?
Yeah, that event that's been partially spoiled.
Yeah.
Was it Late Siege, I think it's called?
Yeah. So I just imagine like Targ will get really popular for a few weeks and everyone will go, no, let's put this in our deck.
To be fair, there's quite a few good, decent contested locations to get rid of. Both Harrenhal's, White Tree.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a good one-off card.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through different bestows. I swear I haven't seen some of these cards. Like, I'm looking at one from the next pack, Bear Island Host. I do not remember that getting spoiled.
I think it's partially spoiled on the review article, as on the preview article.
Yeah, it's on Friends DP. I'm just looking at ones on there.
Discard 1 gold to choose a House Mormont character. Do we have any
himself? Yeah, just himself, basically.
Until the end of the phase, that character is not nil when declared as an attacker in the military. Well, we're going to need some more characters that want to be useful.
I think he's useful just because you use him on himself.
Oh,
you go, I discard a gold, I don't.
7 gold, though. For that. Again, if you're getting all the way. I don't know.
And there's Wex Pike.
Yes.
Bestow 8.
How did I miss him? Stacking each character with print across X lower can't be declared as a defender. Oh my god.
See, he's potentially more useful just because of the dominance action. That it doesn't all have to be done at once.
Oh, yes.
It's not cost or lower, though. It's just exact cost.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why he's bad.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I'm going to make him work. I've decided.
That's one thing I do want to see. There needs to be some sort of neutral cards where allow you to move gold off characters.
People keep suggesting that, but I think that will be bad.
You think that'd be too powerful?
Yeah. Can you imagine if you had a neutral event that was basically restock yourself with gold, right, for these Bestow cards? What if you could then move an extra 4 onto Astapor, so it gave anyone -8 and killed them if they were 0?
Yeah, okay.
So adding gold onto these cards.
Maybe it was 2 gold to move 1. Because then you need 3 gold in your house card, and all it's doing is adding 1 extra Bestow. Maybe?
I can see it being more worded like Bestow up to the amount of Bestow originally written on the card, so you can refuel it.
Yeah. That I don't mean go above it.
But you can't exceed it. Yeah.
Otherwise, Bestow 8. Just go. You got Robert Bracken over dead. Just dead. That would be a bit too good, yeah. But overall, I know anyone made many decks based around these cards, or added them in yet?
Played with a few decks. Got some weird Greyjoy Winter. Moat Kalen.
I've got Moat Kalen in a deck. I actually need to test it. We'll try it with it.
I've just been testing lots of different things this week. Like Fickle Bannerman, got in a sort of rushy deck.
Yeah. I've used him a few times. He's quite fun. He's just so good.
I do want to actually sit and try and play some Martell. I do need to learn them a bit. It's I always rate them quite low, but I do enjoy them and they're doing their actual thing.
Yeah, so obviously I've been playing a bit of Martell recently, but I've tried putting him into my deck. I'm really struggling for it to drop. It's actually quite awkward. Yeah. And how many do you run?
2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, something I might sit around and play with this week. I'm trying to work out what to play for the charity event, and I feel like Martell would be my charitable deck contribution.
So, do you know? Is it? Do you want to talk about the charity event, Joe? And is the money for Ryan's deck finished?
Yeah. So, I'm not sure when this episode's coming out, but I imagine it would be. So, this coming Saturday on the 18th, we're doing a charity event down in Brighton, which we posted about on Facebook quite a bit. And so all of the money, or 70% of ticket sales, are going to Macmillan Cancer Support. And we've also been doing the Just Giving page in order to work out what Brian's going to play on the day. And that's now just finished, and we've raised about £300 on that. Yeah.
Put some name value to it, and
yeah, it's been interesting. Like, the way it's gone has been a lot different than we expected, because we did it so any donation had the chance of winning one of our plot cards. So we were expecting sort of lots of £1 donations, but it turned out to be more people donating sort of like £10 plus at a time. So we've got quite a few big donations. But yeah, just that finished on Friday, and that has ended up being that Ryan has to play Martell Dragon with Muster the Realm.
So was it Martell Dragon with Muster the Realm?
Yes.
How many good army cards are in there?
Not that many. So we've got Knights of the Sun and Starfall Cavalry are good in Martell.
One's a lot better than the other one, but yes.
Yeah.
Knights of the Sun.
Yeah. And then from Targ you get Unsullied or the 8-cost Dothraki.
Aren't Unsullied loyal?
No.
Okay.
But the burn doesn't really do much outside of...
No, the -1 strength doesn't really help you that much.
It will be an interesting deck. Ariane potentially makes it clever.
Yeah, I've already got a few ideas, don't worry. I've got like 4 or 5 different decks that I've started to build. I'll decide which one I'm going to go with in the end. But
it's better than the Martell Dragon jousting contest. That almost happened.
Jousting contest? I don't know, you can get Miri then.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, that was the problem. It was good.
Oh, right. Nice. Oh, what must the Realm actually do? It's been a while since I've actually looked at the card.
Yeah, there was also a very small amount of votes for Reigns of Autumn. We thought there'd be more for that, but I'm guessing no one remembers it.
4-5-1. Plot limit.
Deck limit
right. 2. Are you going to have 2? Because you can have 2 in your deck, right?
I think I'll stick with 1 for now.
During the times you have an attacking army, raise the claim by 1. It's not the worst plot.
No, it's not. It's just there's not that many armies.
That is the issue.
Yeah, we could have had armies if the bloody Maces didn't ruin it.
it's okay like Lannister, because in Lannister you got like cheap armies, right? You got the gold cloaks, so like gold cloaks or red cloaks, whichever ones it is.
Gold cloaks. So
yeah, they're all armies and they're like 2 cost. So
yeah, gold cloaks.
Yeah. I remember seeing some. There were some Lanny army decks, which using Muster the Realm, bringing gold cloaks last minute. Get 2 claim military.
Yeah, actually, that wouldn't be awful.
There's potentially a Stark Lion deck with that. If you use Winter is Coming and bring in armies last second.
And there's the because there's the Great Army, which doesn't kneel when there's a war plot revealed. But you also have the cavalry, don't you? Or it looks like they're on horseback anyway. The opposite of the Knights of the Sun.
Great John Vanguard.
Yeah, they wouldn't be awful in that.
Great John's Vanguard. It's a good card as long as you see it in 2 turns, then it's a rubbish card.
Yeah.
No, you have to actually see it set up, I think, for it to be worthwhile.
Pretty much. It's amazing in
really
draft, though.
Good in draft.
Yeah.
I really liked it in melee. The one game I managed to win at Stalic was because I had 2 Great John Vanguards and no Lords, and they were just doing all my work.
Yeah. Strength 6 with Renowned isn't awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so anything on hit on the All Men Are Fools before we move on?
The only other card I've been questioning, because I can't tell whether it's good or not, is like Giscari Elite.
Which one?
the Targ character.
Oh. I kind of like if you have Isle of Ravens as well, so you can shuffle your deck, or somewhere shuffling your deck regularly.
See, but
I think
I kind of see the point of that, but at the same time, just Isle of Ravens will just put the card in your deck anyway. I guess you're getting two cards out of it that way, but...
Yeah, I do have the same thought when I initially thought about that, but because you need a way of being able to shuffle your deck, or you need to banner to Greyjoy to play the Lannister's Port Merchant.
You just Shadow Black, right? And hope you get you assume you're going to get event in those top 10 anyway, and then you're shuffling your deck afterwards.
Or maybe use Piet Pre.
The issue is, though, you've got to have a way of shuffling your deck, and you've got to, you don't really want to be running more than one other, I don't think. Yeah. So Isle of Ravens just seems better. Because also Isle of Ravens isn't limited to an attachment or an event. It can be anything. And, you don't have to necessarily kneel for it to... that whole... I mean, I imagine you will be kneeling her, but there will be times you won't want to kneel her. Whereas Isle of Ravens, you just do it.
Yeah.
So
Isle of Ravens targets anything rather than just attachment or events, and unless you're a crazy person running XXD, then your attachment suite and targets are never huge.
Yeah. So I
say crazy person, but now I feel bad because Matt Slade ran it.
He did.
And did quite well.
He did do fairly well with it, and there's I'm still not 100% convinced by it, but
those bloody Targ loyalists.
They get their due soon, and they can start playing some good cards. Because this is another one. We all always rip on Greyjoy for getting was it Power Monicon? Targ just seems to be flooded with intrigue power Bicons. It's like an all 5 cost around that mark. That there has to be a good Targ range deck now with the amount of intrigue icons they've got.
I don't think so. Still,
but all their characters have got intrigue icons.
Yeah, but they don't really care about flipping into the other plots, do they?
No, I know, but it's just like, why are they all intrigue power? Seriously, why? I'm not convinced by her. She just potentially, when Isle of Ravens cycles out, because this is the 3rd cycle, so this will be around for a year after that cycle's out, then she'll have her time. I guess.
That's a long time to wait. 5 years down the line.
Yeah, well, for Julie schedules maybe. So yeah, I'm not. I don't think she's great. She was not one of. She was one of those cards that I was kind of looking forward to because she's on the cover. So you think she's on the cover, she must be good. No,
I thought it was going to be like a unique card.
Oh, yeah, the version wasn't unique.
Oh,
sorry, for some reason I thought it was unique.
No.
Yeah, that
Gascari Elite is not her name.
I did think it was a bit weird, but what makes it slightly better because it's not unique, but at the same time, there's much better 5-cost cards out there in Targ.
It's also an ally.
Yeah. So if it does come OP, Dissension will come back. Okay.
Are we done with our sporadic pick of cards from that pack?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else worth talking about.
Do we want to hit on Alliance at all? That's it. It is a new agenda. It's kind of fairly big for the game.
Is it though?
Well, I'm not. I said, my feelings.
All the agendas.
I don't think it's very good myself. I think the only house I think is going to be good is like a Tyrell banner to 2 other things because they're the only house with enough draw at the moment to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I just think you'd be better off bannering to 1 house and having a smaller deck.
Yeah, it works well when everything goes well. Like if you're doing your Tyrell deck and Marjorie's going off, then great. But otherwise, you've got the amount of searching you have to do to get to the useful cards you've just brought in.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun agenda, but not necessarily a good agenda for now. I think a lot of people will be messing around with it, but there'll be very few actually competitive decks, really.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun. I did see a deck online just now on Thrones DB where some guy had bannered to Lanny with it. So he had five Lanny was it unique cards, and he put in 3 treacheries. Like you're never going to see the combo. Why? I say it's fun. I think you can see some. There's going to be probably some people are going to be talk about Tyrell Nights Watch something. But I say think there's some Stag maybe, yeah. But I just think you're never going to see enough of the pieces to make it consistent enough.
Yeah, I think the way that's going to potentially make it work is it has to your banners kind of have to be all 3 times of everything you want, rather than you can't really just go I'll have one of this. You have to know what you want and bring that in. There is potential use of it, maybe bringing in the Greyjoy locations, clearing out locations, or Barra just bringing in the Neil and Dom. But it's still quite inconsistent.
The other thing is this to me seems worse in a Valor environment because you're less likely to see your dupes. You're even if you put 3 bodyguards in, less likely to see your bodyguards.
Yeah.
So you're just making your characters a little bit more vulnerable.
Mm.
And I can't even begin to think if you need to adjust your cost curve or not to make it a bit lower, because the last thing you need is to draw up into all your expensive characters. Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna have some fun with it, but I'm not convinced it's actually gonna do much.
Yeah, I'll play around with it this week because I do need to try some fun decks rather than playing Nanny because I'm getting frustrated.
Oh, God, he plays try hard decks. Seriously.
How's Barra going?
Won the first game of the Octagon League, so fairly well.
Poor George.
I did feel sorry for. I just did the commentary for it earlier, and yeah, that felt quite bad. I did apologise to him. So yeah, okay. Spoilers then. Let's not hold these lovely people up anymore. So, Ryan, what spoilers have we got?
So we have 2 Baratheon cards from the upcoming Nights Watch Deluxe box.
Hooray!
Yeah. And it's a location and a character, and they're both Davos Seaworth themed, which is quite cool to get a little set of cards that go to one theme. So we've got his ship and his wife. So, who wants to take the first one?
I might as well, as soon as I do like my Barra Kraken. So, we'll take the location, which has been... Some people have seen a little bit of it and worked out that Black Bertha was coming. So, it is a 2 gold location. Warship. While you control Sir Davos Seaworth, he gains renown and action. Kneel Black Bertha to choose an attacking character. Until the end of the challenge, that character gets plus X strength. X is the number of kneeling characters the defending player controls. Well, so
yeah.
You're an action which gives you a half rub effect and renown on the character.
I do like the little passive renown, like having a Lightbringer, giving Stannis renown. These sort of extra tag-on effects that you don't need, but they're nice to have if you've got the character out. It's nice for the Nedley players.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that another one the Great Kraken, where it's still quite useful even if you don't have that character out.
Yeah.
But it's just better when you do. And Sir Davos is he's a great character. He's great in the show and the books, and it's nice to see him kind of renowned. Just makes him even better. Yeah,
we're going to start seeing a lot more of the 6-cost one.
Yes,
because it's never going to be great on the 4-cost one. Because if you're playing 4-cost, he's not really there to stay around.
Yeah,
he's there to get wildfired and survive. So
yeah. So the actual effect itself, the action, is quite similar to the previous warship that Baratheon got. Though I'd say a lot better because you're relying on your opponent having gold for. Is it Valerian, the previous one?
Yes.
Yeah. Which sometimes happens, but often you're not going to get anything from it, or you'll get just +1 strength. Whereas there's always going to be kneeling characters. I mean, it's Baratheon. And if they're playing the game, they're going to have knelt characters.
Yeah.
And once you spoil the next card, there'll be plenty more knelt characters.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, I think it's quite good. It's quite solid.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got the warship trait, so works with Salador. As with all these,
need to be a Barra, really.
Exactly. Yeah. As with all these cards you get that aren't Nights Watch in the box, they're all going to be non-loyal, so you can chuck this in your Greyjoy deck. So we keep seeing this sort of Greyjoy Stag or Barra Kraken theme being reinforced. All these warships.
Yeah, good.
And
Cause this works really well with the drowned men as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's synergy without even trying. It just work. It seemed to work well. And the same with the next card. It just works with Greyjoy by doing what Greyjoy do without really having to build around it too much.
Yep.
So overall it's good. It's this one you can pretty much slot this into almost any Barra deck, because I don't think I've ever seen a Barra deck not run at least one to Davos.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be a sort of one of, two of, if the Davos theme starts building based on these two cards.
The only thing might be is maybe the Dominance deck doesn't take it quite as much, maybe. But the Stannis deck definitely wants this, because you're going to have lots of Nelt characters. The core Stannis deck, I should say, sorry.
Yeah.
But overall, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, if we get more Intimidate characters as well, it's going to be even better. So obviously this works great with Robert and Victarion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake, Barra Kraken, don't.
Just when you thought you're out, Joe.
I'm never fully out Barra Kraken.
I mean, this basically turns Victarion into another Robert, right?
Yeah. Can someone just get rid of Tyrell so I can start playing it again, please?
And it's great for that going, I'm going to win by 3, am I? Okay, I'll just up this then. Up my strength.
It just makes the challenge math that much tougher, because that was the thing I always love about Robert, is that you have to then start counting and go, okay, so everything I kneel, I've now got to add on the extra. So now it's just doubling up on that.
Yep.
Including one of the favourite ones I've done recently, where I seen in Flames mid-challenge to give Rob +1 strength.
Yeah, there's plenty of great things you can do with that sort of thing. I just used to kneel my reducers for the sake of it.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love seeing reducers. Oh, I'm going to put this reducer out. Why? Just to kneel him to get him to get this other card out. Just makes Bob stronger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we hit the character, which in some ways is probably slightly more interesting?
Yep.
Yeah, I think she probably is. So again, this is building on Davos, both versions really. So this is Maya Seaworth, who is his wife. She's a 4-cost character, intrigue and power icons, and 3 strength. She has the companion and lady traits. And reaction, after a character is bypassed using stealth, pay 1 gold to near it. Limit twice per phase.
I think Esgred has a new best friend. You go, sorry. He just goes, first action, then stealth past these 2 characters. They don't even have to have the right icons. Pay 2 gold. They're both out of the challenge. Out the turn. Yeah. It's
She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Davos will see more play just on the basis that you go, okay, I stealth, I get a gold, and I spend the gold.
I know, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just such a strong effect. It's not, because it's not, like, obviously Davos had the thing that he had to stealth and non-loyal, but this doesn't. It just has to be anything. So you can just kneel their biggest character for 1 gold.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of go first Barra Kraken decks, right? That just use Robert's Intimidate, this effect, and the stealth just to kneel out all the big guys straight away.
Yeah.
you can just see it now, can't you? With Victoria, I know you can't have Victoria. You can even say it once per challenge, can't you? But yeah, Rob goes into one, nails someone. Victorian goes, and now you've got no characters left standing after the stealth having knelt them out, and then Victorian comes in, nails the rest.
Yeah.
And
and I'm quite happy to pay gold to kneel anybody I stealth.
Yeah.
Like, you even hand Justice, which is 2 cost, nearly one of your own guys, and that's a really good card.
Yeah. This is basically, that, but better. You just have to have some stealth, which is the slight downside, but...
obviously, it can't stealth. Obviously, it can't kneel stealthed characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't stealth someone with stealth, so you can't kneel them. But...
this is going to be great against Nights Watch, just in particular. Trying to get bust down the wall. Obviously not great when Benjamin's out, but otherwise it's still quite a useful card to try and get that unopposed through.
Yep. She's a lady as well, which is always a nice little bonus.
Good traits. Obviously, Companion can be searched for with Silk if anyone ever plays that. But it's better than having, say, Ally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much every trait's better than having Ally.
Obviously, yeah. So yeah, being a lady is quite good. And the cost lot for Barra. Like, there aren't really many 4-cost cards that see play in Barra. I mean,
no, it's Davos.
Davos and Gendry, but Gendry doesn't really see much play.
And Davos will probably swap over, I reckon.
I could definitely see running one of each Davos.
Yeah. I think once Marya's out, you start maybe one and the other one.
I still think there's an argument for either. I know you say with her, obviously with the ship, the new Davos is better. But if you're just taking her, I think he's but the core Davos is just as good.
Yeah.
Well, if it's just like generic Barra Filthy, where your only stealth is Davos, I don't think you run her.
Yeah, I think both of these cards are going to just both appear in the same decks.
Yeah.
You're going to have your Greyjoy stacked and Barra Krakens, which run both.
Oh, yeah. Barra Kraken's going to be so much fun. Yeah, but so I think just quickly, I remember we should say big thank you to FFG for sending us these cards to spoil, and for Ryan for doing the hard work in getting hold of them.
Yeah. Cheers, Evan.
Yep.
Anything on hit on these before we move on? Or are we quite...
I guess another thing to mention, Joe brought this up earlier, is the new Davos is a Lord. So you can give him Seal the Hand, and there's no limit to his effect, so he can bypass 2 and kneel 2. And pay for it with his effect.
Yeah, that's a fair point I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah, I think Davos can become a very scary character. It's almost like a Voltron with these cards backing him up. You put like bloody Lightbringer on him instead. Right, obviously to that.
Yeah, if you've got the boat, yeah. Disputed Claim.
And it doesn't, like, if they nightmares him, doesn't matter because he's still got renown.
This is annoying now because we've just got a new pack and all I want to do is build all the new packs that are coming.
Yeah, I want this deluxe more than anything.
I don't know. Some of those Nights Watch cards.
The Nights Watch cards look like fun.
Some of them.
They're strong, but I think they're all fun.
I don't know if you guys saw the ones that Jay from Cincinnati and Dan reviewed.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Thankfully, Catapult's not as scary as everyone thought. Still a little scary, but it's not going to be as strong.
No.
That event was also awful as well.
Yes. All 3 of the same types of a challenge.
So it's not all good cards they're getting.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have an email from Dean, who immersed at the Bristol Store Championship. There's a video of me playing him, which he actually did talk about regretting some of the mistakes he made, but hey. Question for it. This is he does say kind of aimed a little bit at Ryan, but obviously with mine and Jay's input would be appreciated as well. Because he does start off with Ryan is undoubtedly the best player in the UK, if not globally.
Oh God.
So, So
I'll have you know I beat Ryan in the game just before this, so I think that makes me the best.
Is it like,
it's true.
It's like a
Sorry,
world.
You can take all the stupid comments and memes now. That's fine.
It's like a what's it, World Championship boxing thing? Is it once you lose the title goes to someone else?
Yeah.
Which it didn't go to someone from Reading, Ryan, your first game after being UK champion.
I remember that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So he likes to have. So I'd like to have some insight into what is his day-to-day routine, such as how many games does he try to fit in, which is generally generally good. It does say, does he have a job which works around the hobby, or is he a man of leisure / student? And how much time do you dedicate to Game of Thrones a week? How do you prepare for tournaments? How do you decide what deck to play, take to a tournament, games like Hit Event, and what AGOT version 2 resources does he use and consider most valuable? And finally, what is the top 3 tips to becoming a better player? So
that's a very long question, Ben.
I know. I was going to say we'll probably break this down into chunks. So
it's more like 10. It's more like 10 questions. So let's start at the beginning. Let's go for it.
So your your week by week regime, Ryan. How many games do you normally play in a week?
Okay, not just my day-to-day life.
No, so you get up, have breakfast. You plan on Octagon way having breakfast before work, yeah?
Oh yeah, totally. No. I try to get in roughly one game a night on Octagon at least.
Right.
Just to get some practice in. Keep seeing how the meta is changing, and I tend to have at least one night a week where I play quite a few games. So whether that's actually in person, or a weekly sort of meet up at Board in the City, or a serious sort of testing session online on Octagon with you guys or Dan Kay or Darren Hazelden, some of the regular people I test with.
And obviously, so I was going to say, is that sometimes random games as well, or is it you try to set up?
Oh
games?
Yeah. I always play random games as well, but often do sort of full-on testing sessions where a few of us are testing for a tournament, so we'll take it in turns playing the decks that we're planning on taking against sort of Golden Net style decks. So we have sort of generic decks from each faction that you're always going to see at tournaments, and we're practice against those. So say I'm practicing with a Barra Kraken list for an upcoming tournament, I'd play that for a few games while Joe rotated around some of the generic decks like Lanny Reigns, Nights Watch Deluxe, and then we'd swap over.
And that is one of the great things about Octagon, because you're not actually having to physically make the decks, which can slow that process down quite a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot more time consuming. Just going through the binder, constantly making new decks.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, play quite a bit every week, and go to as many tournaments as I can, really. So during SD season, I was going to probably one every weekend for the whole sort of month or two that it was on. More like 2 months, wasn't it?
3 months.
Yeah. 3 months, yeah.
3 months, yeah. I probably went to about 10 store champs this season.
Now, the one thing I would ask there, because you do get people like Tagore, who, for instance, who basically don't play for a month or two, put a deck together and does fairly well.
Yes, well, Score is obviously an amazing player, but he doesn't play that much these days, and he doesn't deck build at all. So when he does go to a tournament, he asks around for what's strong right now. Someone send me a great deck. For example, the last tournament he went to, he just took Florian's Starlight winning Stark deck. So that's obviously a good advantage there. If you're going to a tournament and you're quite a new player, taking a good deck from online, net decking is not a problem. It helps you learn what makes a good deck.
Yeah. I'd also say one of the advantages I think to net decking is when you're first getting into the game is trying to learn to build a good deck and learn to play the game is two very hard skills.
Oh yeah.
To just take one of those problems out, this deck works. You might need to find a deck that fits your style, but once you do, then you can concentrate on playing the game, and then later on, once you've played for a while, then you can probably get back to deck building.
That was a process I went through for a long time. Like, I never deck built. For the most I'd ever do was tweak things that I'd always find online. Like, the first deck I ever took that I actually built from scratch was in December.
Oh, bloody hell.
Like, because I never liked anything I built, and I'd always rather just concentrate on playing something I know worked with a few tweaks to my own playstyle. Like the Barrett Kraken I had, like as I've said plenty of times, was just built off of Matastrophic's list with a few tweaks here and there. And the one I took to Stalek, I spent ages making my own one, tweaking it, then scrapped it and just took his latest version with a few tweaks again. Because I just know that I feel more comfortable playing with a list that I know works. I think it's a mental benefit, at least it was for me, that I'm not going to second guess the list if it's not my one as much.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair.
But it's two different skills, deck building and playing. Like, becoming a good pilot first helps you then become a better builder.
Yeah. And there's people playing this game for years who say they just can't deck build, and just, they're still really good players. They just need someone to give them a deck, and they can just run with it and do well at a tournament.
Yeah, it's definitely two entirely different sets of skills that you need to do both parts of the game. And like I said, you can be perfectly good at one part, playing the game, and go and win tournaments, and be not great at deck building, but it doesn't matter as long as you've got a good deck to back you up.
Like, I think a good example of going the other way of being a good deck builder and not the greatest players initially was, I think, Dan Kay, who's got a lot better recently. Like, the decks he used to put together I've always looked really good, really clever, but they were always really complex.
Yeah.
As well. But now he's good at both. Very good at both.
There's actually one of the local Netrunner guys who, he's like that. He can build a deck, and people will take it to two or three people take the same deck to a tournament, and he'll always do worst out of the lot of them. And he always can build a good deck. He just can never seem to get it to actually work. He knows what makes a good deck. He just, for whatever reason, can't get it to work on the day. So you guess you kind of have answered the next question, because I was talking about your insight into weekly regime, because you try to play a game every day, and you have one in the session. So what do I say? If you don't, on a week you don't go to a tournament, you're probably looking at about 10 games, ish.
Yeah, I'd say probably about that. Yeah, like I said, generally one day a week I get quite a few games in, so maybe 4 or 5 games in one evening. And if there's not a tournament on the weekend, I'll probably spend a few hours on one of the weekend days testing as well. So yeah, I'd say 10's probably about right.
10. And obviously you do definitely have a job.
I definitely do have a job, yeah.
I like the idea of man.
No longer a student.
Man of leisure, yeah. Ryan won the lottery, and that's why he just dedicates his time to Game of Thrones. So for preparing to a tournament, again, you've touched on this a little bit. Obviously, not like a game. I'm going to say like a games like Kiss and a Store Championship. I imagine you probably don't worry about testing too much.
No, anything sort of regional level and above is where you get serious testing in for.
So let's say we've got a region. The first regional's 1st of May. When do you start thinking about testing for it?
So when you've got an idea of, for a regional, when you've got an idea of what the meta is going to be in terms of the pack releases, so you probably know a few weeks beforehand what packs are going to be legal for it. So then you can really sort of nail down what you're going to play and what the meta's looking like. For some of the bigger events like Starlek, tend to prep for a few months in advance. But for regionals, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. Get an idea ready, sort of refine it over the next few weeks, get quite a few games testing in.
I know, also like with Starlek last year, Whammer was trying to play test for 3 different metas because they didn't know exactly what was gonna be there, what was gonna be legal. So obviously whether the Valor would be legal or not was probably the bigger concern.
Yeah, well, there was for Wilds and Starlek, it was a question of whether the Valor Pack would be legal or whether the Lanny box would be legal as well. So there's sort of 3 different things you could test for. For regionals, you shouldn't probably really have that sort of issue.
No.
Because they're spread out over a few months. You're going to probably have a few packs released in that time anyway, so there's going to be some change in there. So you can't prep for all of them in one go.
Okay. And again, and when obviously you're prepping for a big tournament, I assume, there's like one game a night, that is probably the mid deck you're thinking about, or are you trying out new ideas in those 2 weeks just to make sure you got the right deck?
I'm always trying out new ideas, and it's a good idea as well just to keep trying other factions, especially ones that are popular. So say if you are going to be if you are planning on taking, say, a Nights Watch deck in a tournament in 2 weeks' time, it's a good idea to get a few games in with Baratheon, for example. You playing Baratheon, because it's generally the worst matchup for Nights Watch, and best way to beat it is to know what your opponent's thinking.
And also, sometimes the best way to learn a weakness to a deck is actually to play with it, because then you know what beats it by losing, probably almost losing. Cool. Anything to add to those ones, Joe?
Not really. My testing's very different. Like I very much struggle to settle down on the list, and the ones that when I seem to do well with a list is because I've scrapped all my testing from previous weeks and picked something brand new.
You also can't stick with a deck for too long before you get a bit bored, don't you?
It depends how much I like it, really. I've played decks for a decent amount of time, but it's always come down to actually enjoying playing it.
Yeah.
I'd rather play.
You've got to have fun playing it, yeah.
Yeah. I think we discussed this with Whammer in a previous episode. Like, decks I find I do well with, but I can kind of tell within 1 or 2 games of it whether I'm going to like it or not. Rather than, even if I win or lose, I can tell. Because I find preparing for the meta too much sometimes can also be a redundant fact. Like, sort of, I did a lot of testing for Starlek, sort of against Nights Watch and stuff, and I didn't see Nights Watch once on the day. Things like that. Things you expect to be prominent didn't appear for me. Like, you can test as much as you want, but there's always a chance that you're going to come up against something that's completely different. So just having a deck that you actually kind of know how to play, just generally, can sometimes be best.
And it is something that I started falling a trap to, because generally on a Thursday I tested my friend Dave, because we both have the day off together and I have no kids that day. And I found myself building lots of decks just to beat Nights Watch, because that's mostly what he plays. And I realised I need to start it's fine playing a few games against Nights Watch. You need to know how to beat them. They're kind of good at the moment, apparently. But at the same time, you say you don't want to focus, because if you don't see Nights Watch, or like you drew Ryan in the first round and he's playing Lanny Wolf, and you go, I'm testing against this bugger.
Yeah, something to be careful about. You can't focus on one thing too much. And the same with testing partners as well. Like you said with your friend Dave, we know he pretty much plays Nights Watch all the time. So, and if you're having a weekly testing session with him, you're gonna go into it with that knowledge that he's probably gonna play Nights Watch. I'll change my deck slightly to beat Nights Watch.
Yeah.
Which is not what you should do.
Yeah, a point as well I'd say with testing partners is switch up as much as possible. Don't play the same deck, because as soon as you play 2 games with the same deck, your opponent, or you notice patterns, your opponent's going to play differently, or you're going to play differently. If you know your friend's got marched, you're not going to set up one character, whereas in a tournament you might consider it, so your whole play style changes.
Yeah, it's definitely with that. It's one of the reasons now I try to have about 5 decks built when he comes over, because I know he'll always come around with 2, but at least then that means I can go, cool, I'll play again. I still know his plots inside out, but then in all fairness, I don't think the Night's Watch. You got too many shocks on the plot front.
Yeah, I do a lot of my quite a bit of Octane testing. If I do, is usually random players. Even if it's not always the best game, it's giving me a feel for my deck, and I'm actually thinking my plays through more rather than making assumptions based on who it is.
Cool. Ah, that's good stuff. And to say, yeah, obviously we kind of talked about it before, but for games like kits, I pretty much just take whatever I think is going to be fun, because,
Yeah.
Well, not at the moment, because I really want those Barrow tokens. But
You do?
Yeah, I need 15. So he's just power takers. I've got to do well in free events. It's
I've
quite
got
frustrating.
10 of them, and I'm just going to take one from the Brighton kit, so I'm good.
Well, it's part of the reason I'm planning lots of Wednesday night games night kits. Oh, only 4 of us. Damn, that's a shame.
Well, there's a TO one anyway.
No, that's only the plot. You're not meant to. The tokens aren't meant to be for the TO.
Yeah, screw it. You keep it the standard thing. Like, you go 1 set of tokens, 2 plots.
Okay, cool. Hopefully no one from Bournemouth's listening to this. I might just do that. Okay. What resources do you use, and which ones do you consider the most valuable? I guess there's any kind of free resources I can think of?
Well, obviously, Friends DB,
Yep.
deck building, is obviously the big one. I mean, there are other deck builders available. You can use Card Game DB, but personally, I think most of the community have gone on to Friends DB. So that's also good. Connected to that is the setup analyzer.
Yeah.
So once you've got your deck built, run it through the setup analyzer. It will do, I think it's 5,000 as a default sort of mock setups it does.
Yeah, something like that,
yeah, so it does 5,000 simulated setups, and it will give you some stats on how good your setups are, how likely you are to see certain cards, how much gold you're spending, give you some nice graphs. And that can give you some sort of early warning signs on if your structure is bad, basically, for the deck. Bad cost curve. In terms of prepping for tournaments, looking at the Annals, Castle Black, and Jousting Pavilion, if you really want to sort of see what the meta's like at the moment. Get some statistics on what's doing well at the moment. Even look at it on a sort of location basis. If you're travelling to Bristol for a tournament, you can go on there and have a look at see what people in Bristol have been playing recently at the game like kits and potentially tailor for it, but I would advise against that.
Brian, do you do that?
No.
Okay.
That's a bad idea. Yeah, and they're mostly those are the sort of resources I've used for tournaments.
I was thinking Octagon as well, because that's technically a resource.
Obviously Octagon, yeah, for testing, and there's the I'm Throne now as well.
Yeah, but still needs a bit of work.
Which I haven't tried using it, but I have spectated on there a few times.
Yeah.
So I've left it I sort of open in a tab and watched a few games on there while doing something else, just to...
It's getting there. It's just you need a way of being able to do things yourself when the automation doesn't quite work. That's the main problem, I think, at the moment. So finally, the top 3 tips to becoming a better player. I guess one would be don't listen to my deck building advice on here, because I'm trying to sabotage you.
Yeah, ignore Ben at all costs. That's obviously number 1. No. Obviously, getting as many games as you can as possible, and that includes going to tournaments and little events, game night kits. Best way to be a good competitive player is to go to a lot of tournaments. It's how you learn skills the easiest and the quickest. They're playing in more and more events. Secondly, I'd say don't get shoehorned into playing one deck. Make sure you swap around a lot, even if you're a loyalist to a certain faction. Yeah. Say you only like Greyjoy your main, you just want to play them. That's fine. But you can go to tournaments and just play Greyjoy. But make sure when you're testing, at least, you try out playing with other decks, because it's no good you just playing Greyjoy and having no idea what to do when you're facing Barra. The best way of knowing what to do when you're against Barra is learn how to play Barra yourself.
Knowing your enemy is half of the Art of War book.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that 2?
Yeah, and one more.
I guess going back to what Joe said earlier, just make sure when you do play, it's a deck you enjoy. Because going to a tournament with a deck that you hate playing, even if you manage to do really well with it, you're not going to have a fun time. And more importantly, if you do really bad with it, you're just going to feel awful. Like, oh, I've got this deck that I hate playing. I'm losing every game. I'm having a miserable experience. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
Don't take something that is going to ruin your day. Yeah.
The other one with that as well is, especially at some of the bigger tournaments, that they're long days. You know, you go to a regional or big store championship. That's 5-6 rounds of Swiss, and if you're planning on winning it or being up there, you're going to have about 8 or 9 games to play. So playing a deck you hate that amount of time and you're getting bored, so getting tired and fatigued, probably isn't the best idea.
Yeah.
Cool. I'd also throw in, I don't know if she'll make the top 3, but I also find I try to watch as many games as possible.
Yeah.
I don't always have time to play during the day when I've got the kids or anything, but if I've got kind of quiet half an hour, I might not quite enough time to go on Octagon, but I go on Rob's channel or you can obviously see my channel. Little plug.
Yeah.
Ching. And a few other, there's a few other ones out there that don't unfortunately post quite as regularly, but try to go to their most recent videos, just see, especially Tour Champ season, just watch the cuts. Generally, they made the cut. It's probably a good deck or a good player.
Yeah.
But I find that a good way. If you can't quite get the game time in sometimes, just watch people play. You kind of learn. And I kind of sometimes sit there going, well, actually, I'd have probably done this.
The same goes for reading sort of tournament reports on deck lists on ThronesDB. Can be a good insight into how the person plays the deck, their ideas behind the build. Same for podcasts as well. So obviously not just our podcast, but the 2 American ones, the other British ones. They've got a lot of good insight on there, good players, good knowledge of the game. It's worth listening to them yeah.
And I'd say there's a few things I learnt from Deck List and Chill that might not have been the best decks, but some of the ideas they had were really cool and actually made me think about deck cards in different ways. Some of the decks are also really, really good. Dan's Nights Watch Kraken deck is just wrong on so many levels.
Counterproduct, it's a bit counteractive to all of the other points that have been made. But one thing I've always found is if you're playing and you're losing, if you go and play some Octagon games and you have some losses, stop. Don't just keep playing for the sake of it. Yeah,
that's right. Don't go on tilt.
This goes with any game that I always I find to this. Yeah, if you're not enjoying it or you're starting to lose and you're getting frustrated, stop playing. Take a day or two off or a break and then come back to it. Even if you do come back, play a completely different deck. Just don't. Thrones shouldn't be a job in any way. You should don't do it as a sort of schedule. As great as it sounds to do 10 games a week, right? I imagine Ryan does it because he enjoys playing 10 games a week rather than because he thinks he has to.
Yeah, it's not a schedule. It's not a routine that I have to do. It's just come in the evening, might play a game on Octagon, have some fun.
I'm just seeing on Ryan's fridge freezer now this little checklist do washing, play a game of Game of Thrones today, pay the bills. Cool. Yeah, but you are right. Sometimes you just need to step away. I know when we had that big gap between Pack 6 of the first cycle and Pack 2, I think I actually took a week or so off Thrones because I was getting bored of the meta and was getting frustrated with just Landing Dragon being everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've really played in the past. Well, until this week, I hadn't played for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had some week breaks during Store Champ season as well, where I was just not fancying playing. And then if I did go to a Store Champ, I'd just take something completely new.
Yeah.
For the hell of it.
Okay. I should say it's definitely got to keep it fun because, despite the fact that we make millions off the podcast,
it's just a hobby.
It's just
not a job.
And being from someone who quit another game because it did become almost a job, just getting stuff painted up for reviews and stuff, it kind of kills your enthusiasm when you actually do want to do something for yourself. So, cool. Okay, well, again, thanks, team. That was that gave us something really cool to read from.
Yeah, cheers, team. Hopefully we'll see you at a tournament soon.
Yes, from Cornwall, which is the best part of the country. So probably the Bristol Regional, which I assume will be happening when we actually find out about regionals.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're getting one, because, that's it.
Who was getting one? Bristol.
Bristol, yeah. Cause I'm assuming because Liam does a very good job.
They're quite buddy with Liam, yeah. They're quite buddy with Liam, right? Because he did the Nationals last year and stuff as well.
Yeah. If you want to find out where regionals are, send Alec Ford a message. He loves messages about regionals.
Sarcasm? Yeah, well, it's getting quite close. That's the only thing that's starting to worry me. Because I think, was it mid-May they start?
Yeah, something like that.
I'd tell you the other one I want to know soon is we're almost at the end of March, so we need to know what the next Games Night kit pack is.
God, yeah. Haven't even done a Q1 kit in Brighton yet. I think there's two.
Okay, so I thought he was going to add it into the charity event.
It's probably not going to be into it. It was originally, but we wanted to make it so as much money was going to charity as possible, which meant that we didn't want to pay the store for the kit.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, just do whatever your games night is. Just do one then with like you and.
We don't have a games night. It's only 4 of us.
4? That's 4's enough.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I've just got to schedule them in.
Cool. Okie dokie. Well, guys, anything else to add before we call it a night?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, Ryan, if you could say the words that we say at the end of the podcast.
You forced us to say it at the end of the podcast.
Well, I think it was when Whammer came on that I think we realised it had become a thing, sort of. I did it. Makes Whammer laugh. That should be reason alone enough.
We do like to see a smile on Whammer's face. So.
Yes.
Alright, guys. Catch you next time. It's been emotional.